IF 21. Need some perspective on my situation with my now ex-boyfriend, M23. I know the title sounds strange, but please hear me out. This has been eating me up. I need to know if I handled things wrong. Richard and I met during our freshman year of college. I was 19 and he was 21. We were in the same study group for chemistry, and he seemed really sweet and caring at first. After a few months of friendship, we started dating. Everything was perfect in the beginning. He was attentive, loving, and always made time for me despite his busy schedule as a business major. I grew up in a family that valued adventure. My dad was a mountain climber before he had kids, and my mom loved outdoor activities. They always encouraged me to try new things and face my fears. Since I was 16, skydiving was at the top of my bucket list. I used to watch videos of people skydiving and dream about experiencing that rush of freedom. About 6 months into our relationship, I mentioned wanting to go skydiving to Richard. We were watching a travel show that featured skydiving, and I excitedly told him about my dream. His reaction completely blindsided me. He got really quiet at first, then started asking weird questions about the instructors. When I explained that you're strapped to a certified instructor for safety, he became visibly angry. Richard told me he wasn't comfortable with me being strapped to another man in such an intimate position. He said it was basically like grinding on someone and that no respectable woman would do that. I tried explaining that it's a professional sport and there's nothing sexual about it, but he wouldn't listen. He even showed me diagrams of tandem skydiving positions to prove his point about it being inappropriate. At the time, I was young and insecure. I had never had a serious boyfriend before Richard, and I wanted to be a good girlfriend. So I agreed not to go skydiving while we were together. Looking back, I can't believe I let him control me like that, but I really thought I was being respectful of his feelings. Our relationship continued for another year and a half. During this time, Richard became increasingly controlling about other things too. He didn't like me wearing certain clothes because they were too revealing. He questioned me whenever I hung out with male classmates for group projects. He even had issues with me going to the male gynecologist I'd been seeing since I was 16. Despite all this, I stayed because I truly loved him. I kept telling myself that he was just protective and that it came from a place of love. My best friend Sarah, F22, tried to warn me that his behavior wasn't normal, but I didn't listen. I even distanced myself from her for a while because Richard said she was a bad influence. Everything fell apart this summer. I was using Richard's laptop to work on a presentation for our summer class. We were taking it together, and a message notification popped up. It was from a girl named Brittany, and the preview showed heart emojis. I know I shouldn't have, but I clicked on it. What I found destroyed me. Richard had been texting multiple girls for months. He called them pet names, sent them flirty messages, and even exchanged inappropriate photos with some of them. The worst part was that in these conversations, he often complained about me being too prudish and boring. When I confronted Richard, he tried to turn it around on me. He said I drove him to seek attention elsewhere because I was too focused on school and didn't give him enough attention. He said the girls meant nothing and that I was overreacting. After hours of arguing and crying, we broke up. The breakup sent me into a deep depression. I felt worthless and stupid for letting him control so much of my life. Sarah, who thankfully took me back as a friend despite everything, suggested I do something empowering. That's when I remembered my dream of skydiving. I spent 2 weeks researching skydiving centers and safety records. I found a highly rated place about 2 hours from our city and booked a tandem jump. My instructor Mike was in his 40s, married with 3 kids, and had over 15 years of experience. He was completely professional and made me feel safe throughout the entire process. The jump was life-changing. For those few minutes in the air, I felt completely free. All my worries about Richard, all the self-doubt he had planted in my mind, just disappeared. Sarah jumped too, and we spent the whole drive home talking about how amazing it was. Fast forward to September. Richard started reaching out again. He sent long messages about how he had changed and realized his mistakes. He said he was in a bad place before but had worked on himself. He even apologized for the controlling behavior, which he had never done before. Like an idiot, I agreed to meet him for coffee. He seemed different, more mature and understanding. We started talking again and eventually got back together. Everything was good for a few weeks. Then last week, we were talking about what we did during our time apart. I honestly told him about the skydiving trip, thinking he would understand since we weren't together, and he seemed to have changed. His reaction was terrifying. His face turned red, and he started shouting in the middle of my apartment. He called me a whore and said I had let another man violate me. The texts started coming immediately after he left. Horrible messages calling me every nasty name imaginable. He said I was worse than a prostitute because at least they get paid. He claimed I only went skydiving to get revenge on him and to prove I could be a slut. When I blocked his number, he started emailing me. He said his flirting with other girls while we were together wasn't nearly as bad as what I did while we were broken up. According to him, texting other girls was just words, but I had physically betrayed him by going skydiving. His sister Irene, F25, got involved next. She's always worshipped Richard and thinks he can do no wrong. She posted a long rant on Facebook about how I'm a horrible person who betrayed her brother's trust. She even included a stock photo of tandem skydiving and circled the harness areas to show how inappropriate it is. Now I'm getting messages from all our mutual friends. Some are calling me awful names, while others are saying I should have at least warned Richard about the skydiving before we got back together. A few friends are on my side, but they're in the minority. My mom says I did nothing wrong and that Richard is showing his true colors again. But my dad, who was surprisingly okay with me going skydiving before, now says maybe Richard had a point about it being inappropriate. He suggested I should have requested a female instructor if I was going to do it. I've blocked Richard, Irene, and anyone who's harassing me, but the messages keep coming from new numbers and accounts. I know in my heart that I did nothing wrong. I was single, fulfilled a personal dream, and there was nothing sexual about it. But the constant harassment and judgment are starting to wear me down. Was I wrong for going skydiving? Should I have told Richard before we got back together? Am I really a horrible person for doing something I've always wanted to do? Update 1 first, I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. The support and validation I received meant more than I can express. A lot has happened in the past 2 weeks, and I feel I need to share these developments with you all. The harassment from Richard and his friends got so intense that I had to delete most of my social media accounts. His sister Irene kept making new accounts to tag me in posts about loyalty and respect in relationships. She even made a TikTok video comparing tandem skydiving to adult activities, which went viral in our college circle. People I barely knew from classes started giving me dirty looks and whispering when I walked by. But that's not even the craziest part. Last week, something happened that changed everything. I was at Sarah's apartment studying when she mentioned seeing something weird on her Instagram Explore page. She showed me a photo that made my blood boil. It was Richard, from back in May, strapped to a young female skydiving instructor. They were both smiling widely at the camera, and the caption read, "Getting my adrenaline fixed with the best instructor at skyhigh_Amanda." Yes, you read that right. Richard went skydiving in May, while we were still together. Not only did he do exactly what he later called me a whore for doing, but he specifically requested a female instructor. Sarah started digging deeper and found more photos from that day. Richard had gone with his guy friends from the business program, and they all posted about it. He even left flirty comments on his instructor's professional Instagram page. I was shaking with anger when I saw these pictures. All those months of making me feel guilty about even wanting to go skydiving, all while he had already done it himself. The hypocrisy was staggering. Sarah found out through some mutual friends that Richard had specifically asked for Amanda as his instructor after seeing her photos on the skydiving center's website. After taking screenshots of everything, I finally responded to one of Richard's many harassing texts. I sent him the photos and asked him to explain himself. His response was both hilarious and infuriating. He claimed it was completely different because he was a man, and men can't be taken advantage of the way women can. He said he only went skydiving to understand why it was so tempting for women, so he could better protect me from making that mistake. When I pointed out how sexist and controlling that logic was, he completely lost it. He started telling everyone that I was stalking him and his friends, even though the photos were publicly posted. He claimed I was obsessed with him and trying to ruin his reputation by bringing up the past. His sister Irene jumped right on this narrative, posting long paragraphs about how I was unstable and dangerous. The worst part is that some of our mutual friends are actually believing him. Emma, Rachel, and Lily, 3 girls I've been friends with since freshman year, have completely turned against me. We used to have weekly study sessions and brunch dates, but now they won't even look at me when we pass each other on campus. They think I'm some crazy ex who's trying to destroy Richard's life because he dumped me. They don't want to hear my side or look at the proof of his hypocrisy. Desperate for someone to believe me, I reached out to Richard's mom, Sandra, F46. She had always been kind to me and often told me I was like a daughter to her. We used to cook together on Sundays, and she even taught me her secret family recipes. I thought if anyone could talk sense into Richard, it would be her. But my conversation with Sandra revealed something that made everything make horrible sense. Between sobs, she told me about Richard's previous girlfriend, Megan. Apparently, Megan went skydiving during their senior year of high school and ended up cheating on Richard with her instructor. According to Sandra, Megan left Richard for this instructor and it completely broke him. Sandra begged me to understand why Richard was so sensitive about skydiving. She said his reaction to me going wasn't about control, but about protecting himself from being hurt again. When I tried to explain that I went after we broke up and never even spoke to my instructor outside of the jump, she accused me of being insensitive to Richard's trauma. I felt betrayed not just by Richard, but by this entire support system I thought I had. These were people who had been part of my life for 2 years, who I thought knew me and cared about me. Now they were all believing the worst about me without even asking for my side of the story. The only people still in my corner are Sarah and a few friends who've known me since high school. They're helping me document all the harassing messages and social media posts in case I need to take legal action. Sarah's brother is a lawyer, and he said we might have a case for harassment and defamation if things don't calm down. I've stopped going to the campus coffee shop and cafeteria because I'm tired of the stares and whispers. I switched study spots to avoid running into Emma, Rachel, and Lily. I even dropped the one class I shared with Richard's sister Irene because she kept making snide comments during lectures. The silver lining in all this is that I've started going skydiving regularly. Every time Richard or his friends post something nasty about me, I book another jump. It's becoming my form of therapy. In the air, none of this drama matters. I'm finally starting to feel like myself again, even if my social circle has shrunk significantly. I know this update might not be what people expected, but I needed to share how deep this rabbit hole goes. I never imagined a simple bucket list activity could uncover so much hypocrisy and destroy so many relationships. But maybe these weren't relationships worth keeping anyway. Update 2. I thought things couldn't get more complicated, but life had other plans. Just when I was starting to move forward, the past came knocking, literally. I was doing laundry in my apartment building when a girl approached me. She introduced herself as Rachel, F22, Richard's ex from high school, the one his mom told me about. Rachel found me through Facebook after seeing Irene's posts about me. She said she had been following the drama unfold and couldn't stay quiet anymore. We went to my apartment to talk, and what she told me completely changed everything I thought I knew about Richard. The story Sandra told me about Rachel cheating with a skydiving instructor? Complete fiction. Rachel did go skydiving once during their relationship. It was a graduation gift from her parents. Richard reacted exactly like he did with me, calling her horrible names and accusing her of cheating. When she denied it, he started spreading rumors around their high school that she had slept with the instructor. The rumors got so bad that Rachel had to transfer schools for her senior year. Her parents even considered legal action against Richard, but he and his family threatened to countersue for defamation. Rachel showed me old text messages and emails from that time. She had screenshots of conversations where Richard admitted to making up the cheating story because he was angry that she wouldn't give up skydiving for him. But here's where it gets even crazier. Rachel wasn't the first. Through mutual friends, she had discovered 2 other girls from Richard's past who had similar experiences. One girl joined her college track team against Richard's wishes, and he spread rumors that she was sleeping with the coach. Another girl took swimming lessons with a male instructor, and Richard told everyone she was having an affair with him. Rachel showed me a particularly disturbing message from Richard during their relationship. He had written, "I made up the stuff about you and the instructor. I just needed people to take my side when you picked skydiving over me. No one sympathizes with a controlling boyfriend, but everyone hates a cheater." I was shocked. Richard had used this fake trauma about being cheated on with a skydiving instructor to manipulate not just me, but his own mother. Sandra had cried real tears telling me about her son's heartbreak, but it was all based on a lie he created to control his girlfriends. I decided to share Rachel's story and the screenshots with Sandra. I thought surely now she would see who her son really was. I was wrong. Sandra accused Rachel and me of conspiring against Richard. She said we were just bitter ex-girlfriends trying to ruin his life. Then she threatened to sue both of us for defamation if we shared the screenshots with anyone else. The next day, Irene posted a long Facebook rant about how Rachel and I were working together to destroy her brother's reputation. She claimed Rachel had always been obsessed with Richard and was using me to get revenge. Some of our mutual friends who had started to doubt Richard's story immediately took his side again. But the truth has a way of coming out. After Irene's post, 2 more of Richard's ex-girlfriends reached out to me. They both had similar stories about Richard's controlling behavior and false accusations. One girl, Tina, dated Richard for 3 months in college before me. He accused her of cheating with her male study partner and made her life so miserable that she had to switch majors to avoid him. The other girl, Madison, dated Richard briefly in high school before Rachel. She told me that Richard would constantly accuse her of flirting with male teachers when she asked questions in class. She eventually stopped participating in class discussions because of his accusations. All these girls had stayed quiet because they thought they were alone. Each one believed she was the only one who had experienced this pattern of control and false accusations. Finding each other has been both validating and heartbreaking. Rachel, Tina, Madison, and I have created a group chat to support each other. We're documenting everything in case Richard tries this with someone else. The screenshots, the messages, the witnesses, everything that proves his pattern of behavior. Richard is now telling everyone that his exes have formed a hate club against him. His new story is that we're all jealous because he's dating someone new. Irene has been sharing his posts about how men are the real victims of false accusations, completely missing the irony. Some of our mutual friends have started to see through Richard's lies, especially after multiple exes came forward with similar stories. But his core group of supporters, including Emma, Rachel, and Lily, are still firmly on his side. They say we're just trying to cancel Richard because we're bitter. I've lost friends through this whole ordeal, but I've gained something more valuable, the truth. Finding out that Richard's whole traumatic backstory was a lie he created to control women has finally freed me from any lingering guilt or confusion about our relationship. Update 3. I didn't think I would be writing another update, but a lot has happened in the past 3 months that I want to share. After my last update about finding Richard's other exes, things took several unexpected turns. The situation with Richard and his family finally reached a breaking point. After Rachel shared her story, 3 more girls came forward with similar experiences dating back to Richard's high school years. Each one had a story about Richard accusing them of cheating or being inappropriate with male instructors, coaches, or teachers. One girl even had a video from their high school days where Richard admitted to making up rumors about her. We compiled all our evidence, screenshots, messages, videos, witness statements, and had Sarah's lawyer brother review everything. He said we had a strong case for harassment and defamation. When Richard's mom Sandra found out we had gotten legal advice, her attitude completely changed. Suddenly, all the lawsuit threats stopped. The harassment from Richard and Irene finally ended too. I think they realized how bad it would look if 7 different ex-girlfriends came forward with similar stories of manipulation and false accusations. Irene actually reached out to me privately and apologized. She admitted that she had seen this pattern in Richard's relationships before but always chose to believe his side because he was her brother. Irene shared some disturbing insights about their family dynamics. Apparently, their father was extremely controlling of their mother before he passed away when Richard was a teenager. Richard grew up thinking this was normal behavior in relationships. Irene is now in therapy dealing with how their family environment affected both of them. Most of our mutual friends have also apologized after learning the full story. Emma, Rachel, and Lily came to my apartment with tears and apologies. They admitted they should have listened to my side instead of blindly believing Richard. We're slowly rebuilding our friendships, though things aren't quite the same. The most positive outcome of this whole mess is the bond I've formed with Richard's other exes. We meet regularly for coffee and support each other. Rachel has become one of my closest friends. We even started a support group for other women who've experienced similar controlling relationships. I still go skydiving regularly, it's become my passion. I've completed 15 jumps now and I'm working toward my solo certification. Each jump reminds me that I'm strong and capable of making my own choices. Last weekend, Rachel and I did a jump together. It was incredibly empowering to share that experience with someone who understood exactly what it meant to break free from Richard's control. Richard is dating someone new already, a girl from his business program. Part of me wants to warn her about his pattern of behavior, but I've learned that I need to focus on my own healing. However, we've kept all our documentation in case she ever needs validation of her experiences. Sarah suggested I share our story on social media to warn other women, but I decided against it. Instead, Rachel and I are working with a local women's organization to develop a workshop about recognizing controlling behavior in relationships. We share our experiences anonymously to help other women identify red flags early. Looking back, going skydiving was the best decision I could have made. Not just because it was an amazing experience, but because it exposed Richard's true nature and led me to connect with other women who'd been through similar experiences. It's ironic that the thing Richard tried to control ended up being what freed all of us from his manipulation. I'm sharing this final update to give hope to others who might be in similar situations. Trust your instincts. If someone tries to control you or shame you for normal activities, that's a huge red flag. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for pursuing your dreams or living your life on your terms. To all the women who might read this, you're stronger than you know. Sometimes the people who try to clip your wings are the ones who show you how badly you need to fly.